Okay. You all hear me? Because I'm upset already at this meme of the day screen. I'm offended.
And that's exactly what we're going to do on this video. It's been a while, we've just been covering the elections, but now it's time to start covering the fallout. Now, of course, we still don't know who won, even once we get the actual electoral results, which you might not like hearing this, but it looks as though the Democrats are about to win most of these key states by just the amount of votes that they need. Just like
So what does that mean? Just the amount of votes? Any amount of votes is just the amount of votes that they fucking need, dog. However many votes the other person has, the rest of the votes will be exactly how many they need. It's crazy how numbers work. I remember everybody's mind being blown by fucking that meme on Facebook where somebody basically made them calculate their own birthday and people thought it was fucking magic. So I guess I'm not surprised that line of thinking works. They beat them by just the amount of votes they need. Well, Junior, unless you can show that the amount of votes they needed was more than the amount of registered voters, which you can't, then yeah, that's exactly how it works. If I go, hey man, you want to split this fucking pizza? And you go, yeah. And I go, well, there's 8 slices. You take 4 and I take 4. And he goes, okay, we'll each have half, right? And I go, yeah. And say this was a phone conversation. And then say I show up and I ate half the pizza. And he would find it suspicious that exactly 4 slices were missing. How is that exactly half? He might ask.
Just like we saw in Wisconsin and Michigan. At the last moment, oh, look what I found, a box full of Biden votes.
They're being delivered because the fucking DeJoy dicked around with the post office. We went over this as a country for like 3 fucking months, dude. Did we not? Or am I making all of this up? Didn't we go over the protests? It's fucking... Okay, gaslighting 101. Louis DeJoy of the fucking USPS... Everybody acted like people were going crazy when we were protesting his bullshit, right? Now, the fucking ballots are showing up a little bit late directly because of that. And they're like, oh yeah, like fucking the mail doesn't work that way, idiots. You all are very dumb. How can they just find ballots in the mail? Like, motherfucker, the USPS is having issues that you caused. This is, like, Trump literally laid out every step of this plan, and people went, and now it all is coming together, and people are pointing at it going, he literally just said this was going to happen. Everybody's like, fuck you, you're cheating. Like, what the fuck is happening right now? What does that mean with I don't know who the character is, but it's like Patrick and some big robot where he like states 2 obvious facts, like, or something that breaks down step by step, and then as the whole, Patrick's like, no idea. Like, that's what's happening right now.
It's interesting.
Regardless
of who's going to win this election, at the end of this whole fiasco, after the investigations, the lawsuits, the absolute political mayhem that's about to ensue over the next little while, one thing that stays stagnant is the absolute intolerance, bigotry, and frankly just despicable nature of the modern lefty. It's something
the modern lefty
we've covered for a while, and it's something we will continue to cover, and it's on full display right now. The groupthink, and frankly, what I view as the racism of the left, is undeniable at this point. And now, of course, we know that President Trump in this election, based on exit polling, improved his performance with minority voters, more specifically Latinos and black men. And so the war against these voter blocks is in full effect by these ravaging lefties.
Okay, so that's the narrative of this fella. That's his narrative. Is that it's gonna be, my head's gonna explode. It's gonna be, they're doing this to despite what the fuck war on these voter blocks. What the fuck? Also, what reality do we live in where anybody involved in this cheating plot knows fucking every voter's ethnicity, dude? What are you talking about?
Lefties who cannot tolerate any level of dissent from the liberal hive mind.
What are you fucking talking about? This is insane. This dude is nuts.
And so that's what I gotta show you guys. Hollywood celebrities, TV hosts, saying the most despicable things towards these voter groups.
Dude, I know exactly where he's going. I'm gonna let him do it.
You
I'm gonna let him go off,
coming
King.
from a mile
Go
away.
off.
So let's check out the fallout. But before we get into any of it, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell because
fuck you. The video's gonna play. Nobody's going to hear it. This is purely out of spite. And I know people can pause the video. I'm not going to talk about that right now. This is my moral victory. Holy shit, dude. This subscribe screen goes on for way too goddamn long. Yeah, I'm trying. Low-key showing off. Showing off how good I can make a webcam look.
Let's go over some of these stories of the, quote, tolerant liberal. Actress Janelle Monáe, every
It's supposed to be the tolerant left, you fucking idiot.
white woman, black man who supported Trump should burn. And here's the infamous tweet, F Donald Trump, and every American citizen, celebrity, white woman, black man, etc, I guess she means etc, who supported him. Burn.
I know the guy with a fucking edgelord rantsona isn't currently making fun of this with his editorial ass, my first thesaurus ass, Fiverr, write me a fucking dramatic description of things having fucking video that I just watched. He's not. It's a fucking joke.
No. Wow, I can feel the intellect radiating
You are one to talk.
from my computer screen. How dare you vote in your interest? How dare you vote against the way that I, in my Hollywood celebrity
Yeah. Well, I think I lost 42 brain cells that time. 42. Maybe because we're watching these videos directly next to each other. But like he fucking just got through bitching about how voting for Biden. See, because it's not about voting for one or the other. This fucking complete donglas is talking about voting in your interests when it's Trump. But if you're voting for Biden, you're voting in the interest of destroying the place where you also have to live. Because not only are the leftists mean, they also hate themselves, you see. They want to live also in this hypothetical wasteland that they're going to create. All of the rich politicians that they're electing, they don't like money, actually. Biden's only been in office for 47 fucking years or whatever, collecting money from the government, all in an eventual plot to ruin it all so that he can't enjoy it. You know, that's what they all do. They don't want to be rich anymore. They just want to ruin the fucking country or whatever. And it's not voting in your interest if you vote for Biden. It's only voting in your interest if you vote for Trump, according to fucking Assassin's Creed $12 costume.
goons who live in our $1 million mansions say, aren't these people just lovely? Wouldn't it be amazing to break bread and have them over for dinner? Hey, who knows Josh Gad? Speaking of another Hollywood liberal who's the absolute pillar of intellectual takes, here's Josh Gad. Oh man, do I love this guy. There can be two truths. Biden is going to win this thing, and America has shown itself to be dangerously racist, pathetic, and more willing to vote for hatred than their own lives. But at least we will get to fight another day. Yeah, interesting. I'm sure the increase in minority votes for the current
This dude is not even he's like sitting here trying to dunk on people for being stupid, and he's pointing to the increase in minority voters like a fucking dumbass. Like it's voting strategy. Like it's you can look at any of the Democrats' campaigns and see the problem. It doesn't fit a narrative. I don't even know why I'm trying to figure out where he missed this connection. But like Trump had a lot of outreach. And as far as campaign goes, I'll give him that. I mean, he picked up demographics. It happens. But he did it with campaigning. He didn't do it through any meaningful action that they saw and then went, I want more of that. Like, well, that's how anybody votes for him, really. Other than people who claim that their fucking taxes went down by 3%. Cool, Derek. You work at a fucking metal fab shop. You don't like people that aren't white. And you're glad that you get to take home an extra $25 a week on your paycheck. Good. I hope all of this is worth it for you.
Our president is just people that are voting for hatred and racism. These people are living in a fantasy land.
Yeah, it's surely not the people who are driving around ramming cars off the road. That's not how you vote for hatred. You vote for a persona of anger and you act like a fucking mercenary. Those dudes voting in their own interests.
And the notion that Joe Biden is some pillar of racial solidarity
Literally 0 people have said that.
when
Carry on.
he literally eulogized Robert Byrd and has a history of racially inflammatory comments.
If you
We all know that.
have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
And is the
Let's just take a moment to appreciate how fucking cringeworthy that moment was. We have found some solid ground, me and Hivemind here. That was bad. Unequivocally.
architect of mass incarceration is a complete farce. But keep educating me, Josh Gad, on how terrible America is and how Joe Biden's gonna fix it. Let's move on. Wesley Snipes. The closeness of this election shows how many people decided racism is, quote, not.
Is this dude really going fucking head to head with Does he know how old Wesley Snipes is? Does he know, like, where Wesley Snipes is from?
Not a big deal. Monroe, New York Times op-ed, shocked and stunned to see black votes for Donald Trump. What was shocking to me about the exit polls, a larger percentage of every racial minority voted for Trump this year than in 2016. Among blacks and Hispanics, the percentage grew among both men and women, although men were more likely to vote for Trump than women. I am still stunned. The reason these people are stunned is because, frankly, they've bought into the narrative and they're just not paying attention.
Here's the problem with the narrative. Here's the problem with the narrative that he keeps talking about. The left narrative comes from people. You feel me? The narrative on the right comes from the state. Can anybody spot the difference? Can you spot the difference between talking points that are brought up by people that live in the country and talking points that are fabricated and only disseminated in a very few specific places? These people literally will say that as well. They will literally say, the only place to get the information that agrees with my sensibility is this one or that one. Everybody else is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Well, Jack, this may blow your mind, but sometimes, to phrase it a way I've heard before, everybody knows an asshole, and if you don't know one, you are probably the asshole.
How dare minority voters vote for freedom, economic opportunity, the lowest unemployment rate in modern history, funding for HBCU.
How is he not annihilated? I have no fucking idea, because this dude is dunking on fucking liberals, which is easy, and he's only making an example of how easy it is to dunk on them because this guy is like a fucking 2015 anti-SJW cringe compilation all-time greatest content producer award. Unfortunately, born in the wrong era.
Opportunity zones, the Platinum Plan for Black America. How dare
Never
you
mind.
vote in your best interest?
Continue.
Don't you know that if you don't vote for Joe, then you ain't black, Jack? It's absolutely disgusting.
I mean, I can't stress enough how much we agree on this one. That was so fucking dumb.
But it continues. The saga of looking down on minority voters for voting the way they see fit continues. And the bigotry of the left continues. ABC's hosting. Selfish Trump voters. Despicable. Un-American. She says, I'm actually surprised.
Why are we supposed to take ABC seriously when they're saying this kind of shit? But like every other moment that they say anything, you're dumb if you listen to them.
That this race has been so close, not because of the pollsters, but more importantly, because of the botched job that this president did. I mean, for the past 4 years, this president has shown us that he is a misogynist, that he is homophobic.
Stop fucking laughing. What is wrong with this idiot? Hey, I'm going to convey real information to you, but I'm going to do it like this. Ha ha.
When that he is a racist and that he mismanaged a coup.
My very exaggerated version wasn't exaggerated enough. He actually fucking sounds like that. I broke up his little statement too much. I'll rewind it for everybody at home.
That he is a racist and that he mismanaged a coup pandemic to the tune of 250,000 American deaths. Yet 50% of America saw all of
Oh, I see. So, I'm like 80-20 that he knows he's just a fucking shitty grifter now. It probably took me longer than it should have. Notice how he Let's get a replay of that.
American deaths, yet 50% of Americans when that he is a racist
Oh yeah.
and that he mismanaged a coup pandemic to
A what pandemic? A code word pandemic. You see, to avoid the robots at YouTube. That would demonetize his video if he said that word.
the tune of 250,000 American deaths, yet 50%
And also, I appreciate the fucking when.
of America saw all of that and looked the other way.
When was he homophobic? I don't know. When he made Mike Pence the vice president. Just like, when is he racist? I don't know. When he made Stephen Miller his fucking speechwriter.
their brothers and sisters and said, I'm going to vote for him anyway. That is really disheartening because for me, that means you are selfish, right? She continued, I'm not going to say that 50% of
Oh yeah, if it is a tick, I do apologize.
Americans are racist and sexist and homophobic, but I will say that tells me that they look the other way to that kind of behavior, to the plight of their fellow Americans, if personally they feel that they are doing okay and that they will do better under that type of presidency. That, I think, is despicable. It is un-American. And that's what she said after mentioning that 18% of black men voted for Donald Trump. And these are the numbers that she's talking about. 18% of black men, 5% of the population voted for Donald Trump. 36% of Latino men voted for Donald Trump, and all other races at 37% voted for the current president. It's unprecedented. The president got more black vote than Mitt Romney and John McCain combined. Yet they
Are we sure he isn't actually black himself? He got more of the black vote than Mitt Romney and John McCain? The fuck is that supposed to mean? Are you kidding?
constantly tout this notion that he's the most misogynistic, racist president in American history. It's unbelievable. And the only reason they say that is because they want to keep the numbers this way. In what universe does it
In what universe do people think that... Everybody doesn't fancy themselves an agent of propaganda. I have to make this clear to you. Everybody's not thinking that they're making a fucking difference by noticing that a guy says something terrible. Get the fuck out of here.
Does it make sense to see these kinds of splits? 80, 90, 61, 70, 60. Considering what they've got for their vote, it just doesn't make any sense. It's a racket, a complete racket. And you see
Okay. Look, these are kind of logical fallacies that I'm dipping my toe into. But like, this is that whole other narrative as well. This is that whole like, everybody but me is crazy, right? Nobody else sees the things I see. Also, gonna note, he started this off with how fucked up and shitty it is that the Democrats think they're owed the vote, which, don't get me wrong, very much is. But he talked about how the left is racist because of how they denigrate the black voters or otherwise not white voters by okay, so if I'm threading this needle correctly, perpetuating lies about Trump to make sure they don't vote for him. Does he not understand how fucking insulting it is for him to insinuate that a bunch of liberals can convince 91%, 80%, the numbers that he just gushed over? Does he not understand how insulting that is to insinuate that a bunch of stupid fucking liberals are going to convince those people not to vote for somebody because they don't know what their own interests are, maybe? Or what is your reasoning behind that? Because he's not going to explain that, but that's what that implication is.
it right over here once again.
He spends all this time dunking on these fucking liberals like they're so stupid and like with his stupid fucking laugh, right? But the stuff he's laughing about, how could you disrespect these people by using this laugh-worthy propaganda to convince them to vote against their own interests? Like he's insinuating that literally everybody else is progressively stupider and stupider as he goes through his associations, like different degrees of association.
Again, in the exit polls, this is what the Democrats run on. Look at the disparity in terms of voting issues. 91% of Democrats view racial inequality as one of the biggest factors to vote for sleepy, creepy, Robert Byrd eulogizing Joe Biden.
Somebody remind me who the fuck was it endorsed Trump? I'm gonna look it up. He was in the KKK. Robert Byrd, just checking that. What was his rank? Not that it matters. I'm going to pretend it matters, but... Right. So does this absolute genius, yeah, David Duke, thank you, Huggy. So you know the comparison then. And at that point, you know what I mean. Quick question. Pop quiz. Are we going to insinuate that systemic racism isn't real in the same fucking breath that we try to dunk on Joe Biden for eulogizing a senator who was in the KKK? Like the KKK is in the government. But how silly for liberals to convince black people that there's racial inequality in this country. The fuck?
That, my friends, is the emotional manipulation that we've been talking about for a very long time. That is the Democratic racket. It's been a ploy over the last multiple decades to just constantly slander the opposing side as filled with hate, and it's worked. You repeat it so many times that eventually it's
like you, dog. You're outing yourself. Be careful. You're giving away your golden ticket. That's exactly what you do, champ. Repeating himself over and fucking over again. Literally with looping videos and repeating the word hashtag with the word hashtag on the screen. Hashtag Antifa.
gonna stick. Up the game. But the beauty of this election is that it's the first time in modern history that we're seeing it shift. That's what this president has done for the GOP. He's forever changed it. You know, Trey Gowdy was just on Fox News talking about we can't win elections if we're losing 90% of any demographic. Well, Mr. Trey Gowdy, you've maybe given up on the current president and his ability to win this election, but this current president is the only reason the GOP will even stand a chance working towards those minority votes in the future, and the only reason the Republicans have a future. But establishment, neocon GOP types have yet to figure that one out. And I guarantee you, the moment they can, they will backstab Donald Trump. What they haven't
Bro, why are you running defense for this motherfucker, though? Really?
realized yet is that they are nothing without this president. But speaking about the
Neither are you. I hate to be the one to tell you.
Great Awakening, it's continuing to happen. And look no further than Ice Cube to see exactly what I'm talking about. He's had enough. Look at this tweet right over here. Let me get this straight. I get the president of the United States to agree to put over $500 billion of capital in the black community without an endorsement, by the way, and people are mad at me? Have a nice life.
Was that supposed to get more of the black vote than it did? Didn't we just go over that? Didn't he just point out that more black people had voted for fucking Trump this time? But now he's acting like it didn't work.
And so you can tell people are not buying it anymore. And eventually, this emotional shtick, this rhetoric, this
literally proved that people buy it.
This brainwashing mechanism of the Democratic Party is going to stop working. It's already at the end of its lifespan. And if the GOP is smart over the next couple election cycles, there's going to be a shift in voter demographics, which I've been saying for a very long time. And there's only one man to thank. It's President Donald Trump. And the craziest part about it is the one man who's making that shift is the one man that the media and all of these dorks on Twitter are screaming is the most hate-filled president of all time.
Bro, dude. This guy, when you run defense for him and you have to use the language that you use, what the fuck do you think that is? Like, really, though? This dude's just spitting venom at people and being like, how could you ever call the guy I'm defending mean? Fuck off. What are you talking about? Literally just watched him insult people for like 17 minutes in a row and lie about them. And then act like it's so fucking crazy that anybody could believe that the person he's running D for is not so pleasant. Nothing he said makes sense. They call people dorks? Holy shit. So many contradictions just immediately. Like, holy fuck, man. And this... I'm going to refresh the page against my better judgment. We're at like 63,000. He has like 1,000 views in 10 minutes. The world is garbage. Just thought I'd add that.